Committee Plan Commission meeting for Thursday, May 24th is called to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Commissioner Blinova is here. Commissioner Critch?
Present.
Commissioner Dorbin?
I'm here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Kellis?
Here.
Commissioner Powers absent. And Mr. Chairman?
Here. Brooke, any changes to the agenda?
No changes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Citizens' concerns and comments at this time. If anybody wishes to speak on matters? No, thank you. Consent items, docket number SCB 18-21, Virgo's Productions, 262 McHenry Road, appearance approval of a wall sign. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Dorbin, second by Commissioner Blinova. Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Blinova, yes. Commissioner Critch?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorbin?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Powers are absent. And Mr. Chairman?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
I like that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I'll call you like that all the time.
Docket number PC 18-8, Taco Bell KFC, 150 East Dundee Road, minor site plan and appearance approval of facade and site modifications. Brooke, anything?
I have nothing at this time.
Is the petitioner here?
He's actually on his way.
We can continue? Can we?
We'll push him to the end.
Yeah, we'll push it to the end. That's fine. Okay. Are you ready? No, I didn't think you were. Okay.
It's not here yet.
Okay, so
I'm ready.
Mays.
Okay.
Mays?
All right.
Oh, good.
Great. Docket number 2018-9, Mays Wheeling, 280 East Dundee Road, special use site plan approval of a sit-down restaurant. Madam Secretary.
Thank you. Mays Willing LLC tenant is seeking special use site plan approval as required under Chapter 19-06 Commercial District, Chapter 19-10 Use Regulations, and Chapter 19-12 Site Plan Approval Requirements, and associated sections to establish a sit-down restaurant at 280 East Dundee Road, Wheeling, Illinois, which is Zone B-3 General Commercial and Office District.
Special use, right.
Zoning special use is defined in Title 19 of the Village of Wheeling zoning is a use of a parcel of land that requires review and consideration before approval due to the circumstances or effects on the surrounding properties that may adversely affect them. In order to be considered for special use, the petitioner is required to demonstrate through testimony to the Plan Commission at the public hearing why their requirements meet the condition of the Village Code, including but not limited to how the proposal use will not damage the enjoyment of use of the surrounding properties. Prior to public hearing, the petitioner provides written statements means to show that their request for special use meets the standards established in Title 19. The Commission's chairperson will typically direct the statements be entered into a record without a full reading of them at the hearing. Based upon the testimony and supporting materials submitted, the Plan Commissioner will make findings in support of or against the petitioner's testimony and report those findings to the Village Board.
Thank you. Brooke, anything to add?
I'd like to state that the staff report and submittals of the petitioner are part of the public record.
Thank you. The petitioners are here. Please come to the dais. This is a public hearing, so could you please raise your right hand? And do you swear the testimony you give tonight to be the truth? Great, thank you. So as you begin, if you could give your name and business address into the microphone, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. And the floor is yours to describe what you're going to do.
All right. My name is Angela Atamian. My name is Kara McClure.
And business address?
Business address for proposal.
Sure.
We're proposing a business for 280 East Dundee in Wheeling.
Okay, and if you could speak a little bit closer to the microphone so we can hear you. Thank you. So the floor is yours to describe what you're proposing to do.
Yes. So we are looking to open Maze Lounge at 280 East Dundee. Maze is a high-end luxury upscale gaming cafe. We will serve food, we'll have craft beer and wine, and we will have 5 gaming terminals as well for entertainment.
Anything else to add?
The use of the space, is meant for couples or young adults to come in and not just use the gaming machines, but also to come and enjoy craft tapas and craft beers and sodas and really access Wheeling and the town before heading out to other restaurants or entertainment facilities.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone that wishes to speak on this matter? Nope, okay. So we will go to the commission. We're going to start with Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. Do you operate any other maze in the area?
Yes, we have a location in Hickory Hills, which is a little bit further, and then we just opened our second location in Lake Zurich.
Okay. I'm a little concerned that we're starting to get overloaded with these. There's another gaming cafe within like 450 feet of this location. It's going to be a tough sell for me. That's all I have right now. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Creech.
I have no concerns, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Commissioner Blanova.
Thank you. What would be your hours of operation?
So we work within the liquor license limits, so we do 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. at the max. Usually, we work within those, so our current operating hours at our other locations, even though we're allowed to stay open until 2 a.m., we generally close at midnight. If there's somebody in gaming, we don't necessarily kick them out at that time, but we will close after they leave, because nothing good ever really happens after midnight, so we usually shut our doors if the house is empty at that time.
Got it. That's all I have right now. Thank you.
Commissioner Kalis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for presenting. I'm not entirely familiar with these machines, but do they pay out when, like on a card or cash, or how does the payout work when you win and whatnot?
So guests put cash into the machine, and then they redeem a voucher out of the machine. We have one like redemption center ATM that they can then get their winnings or their whatever they're owed back, disbursements from.
Within the location?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm just wondering if there's like someone who wins a bunch of money and it becomes a security concern or whatnot, if you've addressed any of that in Hickory Hills or otherwise. Has it ever become an issue where there's been people kind of hawking over the place? I mean, when it's a place where you can win money, you know.
Yes, we haven't had any issues yet that to speak of that have been of concern. We have noticed that the local police department tends to kind of just sweep by that area a little bit more, and maybe they're doing that just as a precaution.
Yeah.
And so we actually have a really good relationship with usually the police department there, and we try to, report anything that could potentially, even if it's not a threat to us, we try to just keep our communication really good with them.
Okay.
And it's also a very highly regulated industry, so we have a lot of cameras. There's several people who are always watching. We have like an ADT alarm system with panic button. So we have a lot of measures in place. All of the cash handling is done by the terminal operator, so we don't have access to open any of the ATM or anything that's holding cash. They actually have a key to the place, access to the ADT system, so they can come in and do that after hours, so that they can do all of that management of money at that time.
Okay. And I realize you're not the only ones in town with gaming machines, but that's always a concern. And like Commissioner Johnson, it's just like, for our town, how many gaming centers, like, it looks amazing. It's very, very nice looking, very elegant. looks like a cool place that I want to hang out. It's just a matter of, is it attracting who Wheeling is looking to attract is kind of what I'm rolling around. So I have no questions about the place in general, but thinking about the concept. So thank you.
If you wouldn't mind, I'm just going to add a little bit about who we are, as you mentioned, the design you appreciate. I understand that there are other gaming facilities in Wheeling, and, you know, our purpose for Maze Lounge is not just to be a gaming cafe. We really want it to be a place where people can come and not necessarily game, they can come and have a tapas and a beer, or just come and relax with their friends. So we're not solely there to provide gaming for the community.
It's a max of 20, I think I read, that
Yes.
fire code? Okay. Cool. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dorban.
Thank you. How many employees do you plan on having?
Our roster tends to be about 5 or 6 people, and they work on a rotating schedule, so at one given time, there's one person working.
There's only one person in the restaurant at a time?
Yep.
Okay. And are you concerned that there is a gaming facility right across the street?
That's not a concern to ours. We're really after, you know, people who appreciate the upscale and like the luxury vibe that we've built. And we find that people really like that. I think that, you know, we have a lot of people who come in and they say, you know, it smells great in here, it's so clean in here, we really like it. This is now the only place I play. And I think that that's kind of, we're trying to draw people in on the fact that we're an upscale luxury version of this. We're not like everybody else.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
So where is your location in Lake Zurich?
It's at 1003 South Rand Road.
Is it in one of the strip malls there?
Yes, it's next to T-Mobile and a Panda Express. If you're familiar with the area, there's a Binny's there.
Okay. So your food prep, is it all fresh food? How are you, because I see a freezer, a counter, sink, and 3-compartment sink in the kitchen. There's not much in the kitchen. So how is your food prepared?
Yeah, so our food is frozen, and we prepare it in a convection oven. Everything is handcrafted for us, so we can create new menu items anytime we want, and working with our chefs to do that.
Okay. Is that how your other stores are?
Yes.
Same manner, okay. And how long have you been in existence? Your first one was in Hickory Hills, you said?
Yes, that opened the first week of January.
Oh, just this year? Okay. Oh, okay. And then you decided to come way north?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, but as far as we're approving a special use site plan approval of a sit-down restaurant, correct? So what's the criteria around that?
So this is classified as a restaurant as opposed to a tavern with respect to zoning. And that means that over 50% of the gross retail sales would be coming from non-alcoholic beverages or food, as opposed to alcohol sales. Worth mentioning also is, since they're applying for a liquor license with video gaming, that would be the NV liquor license. So their use needs to be consistent with the NV liquor license, as it's stated in the code. If they were to desire to change their liquor license, they would then need to obtain a tavern special use if they wanted to increase their sales of alcohol sales such that it was more than 50% of their total sales.
Okay, so
So right now, they would need to apply for an NV liquor license, and their use would have to be consistent with the NV liquor license, food and beverage sales requirements.
So you're well aware of that
Yes.
your sales has to be more than 50% in food
Yes.
Yes, and non-alcoholic beverages.
and non-alcoholic beverages. That's interesting because I frequented a few of these places in the village, and you don't see a lot of food being consumed, but you must have a model that is going to work, because I don't see that. I see people go in there and it's not an issue with the people that go in there into these places, but I don't see a lot of food consumption. I might buy a beer, which is alcoholic, which doesn't go towards these sales. So, and I don't know what the other what the licenses are in these other places, but irrespective of that, if you look at what is being purchased at these places, you don't see a lot of food being, but you've got the model, so that is not a concern. And as far as the number of these, eventually what's going to happen, if it does happen, is they're going to be saturated and they'll go out of business. That's the reality. They are going to, it's like any parking variations we do. If they're really successful and they run out of parking, something eventually will happen. So it's the nature of this thing, and we'll see what happens, especially now with gaming coming in. There'll be a very interesting concepts coming forward. So, anybody else have any other questions?
I have a thought question. I don't know if anyone looked at the website, but it looks like you guys have plans for like 15 more of these things?
Yes.
Is that, I don't know how much you're in the business development side of things here, but, so there's obviously a need that a needs analysis you guys have done in the suburbs, and do you know anything specifically about what's telling you that these are attractive, that you would be in all these suburbs coming soon? I mean, it's exciting, but you got like 15 of these places.
We do. We've had great success so far in Hickory Hills, and Lake Zurich has become even more successful than Hickory Hills. So we've kind of branched out from our model, and as you mentioned, the food at the other locations, I agree with you, is not a hot ticket, but our locations, that's why we arrange the tapas, because it's a bite-sized thing, so it's more appealing for people that come in for half an hour to grab a bite versus getting a burger or something. So looking at the 2 locations we have opened, the trend for our growth has been moving forward. So that's how we planned the different locations throughout the suburbs so far.
Okay. So is this tapas style, is it different than Hickory Hills or Lake Zurich, or is it all the same footprint, same sort of style?
It's the same
Cookie
footprint, it's the
cutter?
same
Okay.
style.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Jim?
Yes.
Brooke or Mallory, how is that 50% food thing monitored?
Yeah.
So actually, per the recent addition, or potentially currently, they have to present it at renewal time, at the annual renewal for the liquor license.
Oh, okay.
Or but with the proposed, it hasn't been amended yet, but with the proposed changes to the liquor code, it'd be at the village's discretion. We would check on it, and they'd have to provide. A lot of these are part of required tax submittals to
Right.
the state, and so they would just gather the documents and provide us the information.
Okay, thanks.
And, that would be done by administration staff.
Thank you. If there's no other questions, Brooke, I believe you have a condition?
Yes. The condition is that the use shall be consistent with the Class NV liquor license with respect to food and beverage sales.
Great, thank you. So do I hear a motion on docket number 2018-9, Mays Wheeling?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Creech, second by Commissioner Kalis. Madam Secretary.
Thank you. Commissioner Creech?
Yes.
Commissioner Kells?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorbin?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
No.
Commissioner Powell absent, and Mr. Chairman?
And how about you?
Oh, that would be great. Commissioner Villanova, yes.
And I vote yes also.
Thank you. I forgot
You'll have
about
something to
myself.
sign.
Thank you. Thank you.
And welcome to the village.
Thank you. We're glad to be here.
And a motion to close?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Hold on for once, if one of you can come up and sign this, that'd be great. Yeah, I know, we had problems last week, though.
More people need to give, though, I think. I like your wagon.
This just shows you the vote and the condition.
Don't break the desk.
Just need to sign this, so hold on one second.
Oh.
Who are we going with next? If you can just sign.
Careful.
Sign both of them, and one is for you. Should we go back to Copart? Okay, Copart. Okay. So, right, thank you very much. Next is Copart. We're going in order. Docket number 2018-10 and SCBA 18-22, Copart, 100 East Palatine Road, 2018-10, variation from Title 21, signs related to an off-premise sign, SCBA 18-22, appearance approval of a freestanding sign. Madam Secretary.
Copart applicant on behalf of all state owner is seeking a variation from Title 21, signs of the Wheeling Municipal Code, Chapter 21-06, signs in commercial and industrial districts, Section 21.06, 800 prohibited signs, and associated section to allow for an off-premises sign located at 100 East Palatine Road, Wheeling, Illinois, which is zoned I-2 Limited Industrial District.
Thank you. Is the petitioner here? Thank you. And if you could come up here and raise your hand, right hand, do you swear the testimony you give tonight to be the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And if you could state your name and business address very clearly, thank you very much.
My name is Bill Holly from Bright Light Sign. The address is 310 Telsher Road, Lake Zurich, Illinois.
Great. Brooke, anything to add?
Just that the staff reports and submittal of the petitioner are part of the public record.
Great. The floor is yours, sir, to describe why you're here and describe what is going to happen.
Okay. As mentioned, we are proposing to put a freestanding monument sign on a property adjacent to 100 East, sorry, what was that street? Palatine Road. This particular location for this sign is due to the fact that there is no appropriate place to put a sign closer to the building. This particular property is set back and not visible without some type of identification. So the idea is to put a small monument sign here at the corner as shown. And it's a 7-foot high by 8-foot wide illuminated sign with a single copy reading Copart with an arrow pointing to the building.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone that wishes to speak on this matter? No. Okay. We will start with Commissioner Blanova.
You are, no question, no concerns.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Creech?
I have no issues, thank you.
Commissioner Kalis?
No questions, thanks.
Commissioner Dorban?
Well, I just wanted to say that we have a similar situation in another part of town, and it is a problem when you have a building that's off that main road and it's behind something else. So I think it's perfectly appropriate, and I also like the landscaping that's planned.
It is very nice.
Thank you.
Right. Commissioner Johnson?
Thank you. I have no problem with the variation, but I do question why a two-sided sign on a one-way street.
Well, it's very true. There's not going to be traffic in the other direction. On the other hand, the particular location pretty much cries out for a two-sided sign. The other side of the sign would simply be blank if it didn't have a face on it. As far as production of the sign, it's basically the same sign, so the thought is just why not throw a face in there?
Okay, thanks. That's all.
Brooke, were there any conditions?
No conditions.
And I have nothing. It's perfect use. So do I hear a motion on 2018-10 variation from Title
So moved.
21?
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Dorban, second by Commissioner Johnson. Madam Secretary.
Thank you. Commissioner Dorbin?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Creech?
Yes.
Commissioner Kellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Powers absent. Commissioner Villanova, yes. And Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. You'll have something to sign. Motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Don't forget the SCBA one.
Oh, sheepers. Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot that. SCBA 18-22. Thank you, Mallory. Appearance approval for a freestanding sign. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Kalis. Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Creech?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorbin?
Yes.
Commissioner Powers absent. Commissioner Villanova, yes. And Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now you'll have something to sign, two pieces. Is there a clipboard? Is that on here? It's not the last one. Yes.
Clipboard. Here.
If you could sign all four, that would be great. Thank you. Thank you, and you get a copy. 10, 1822. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Okay. Calling docket number PC 18-8, Taco Bell KFC, 150 East Dundee Road.
Just do the number E first, really quick, just so we're in order. Flip this page.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a 2-second motion.
E, docket number 2018-11, to be continued to June 28th, 2018, without discussion. Holy Spirit Life Learning Center, 111 North Wolf Road, special use site plan approval of a social service facility. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
A motion by Commissioner Dorban, second by Commissioner Johnson. Madam Secretary.
Commissioner Dorbin?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Creech?
Yes.
Commissioner Kellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Powers absent. And Commissioner Villanova, yes. Mr. Chairman?
Yes, thank you. Now, docket number PC 18-8, Taco Bell KFC, 150 East Dundee Road. Minor site plan appearance approval of facade and site modifications. Brooke, anything to add?
Nothing.
Thank you. The petitioners are here. Thank you very much. If you could state your name and business address, please, as you talk into that, that'd be great. And if you could describe what you're going to be doing.
Alfred, you can start.
Alfred Telleron. Our address is 5105 Tollview Drive.
Okay, great, thank you.
Good evening, Mario Valentini, MRV Architects.
5105 Tollview Drive.
Great, thank you. So, the floor is yours, if you want to describe what you're doing.
On behalf of the Flynn Restaurant Group and MRV Architects, I'm pleased to stand before the Plan Commission today and to talk about our intentions for the site. So, to give a little background, the main reason why we're even pursuing this remodel is because after a certain amount of years, the brand requires the franchisees to update their image to the current standards that the brand has. And I'm personally very excited to be able to work on this project since when we first picked up the project, looking at the existing drawings, those were dated 1999. That's shocking. I was 6 years old.
So I was a bit older, so.
So to go over what we submitted, in terms of the site plan modifications, there are very little. Really, the only changes that we're making are the exchange of the current site lighting to LED fixtures and the replacement of the current imagery on the monument sign, but that's not on today's agenda. So that pretty much covers all of the site modifications. In terms of the facade, most of it is paint. The whole building is EFIS, so there isn't any introduction of really new materials besides new metal louvered awnings, a new aluminum panel where the tower is currently, and the new parapet-mounted building lighting fixtures. I understand there was a concern or a question that came up where if we'd be able to have those in a dimmable option. Going through the specs, there is that option. The standard for when you order those, they come non-dimmable, but we would just have to specify to make those dimmable. So we do have a materials board to kind of go through the main color palette that we're using.
So if you want to grab that microphone right there, that handheld, because you're stepping away from the microphone. Great, thank you.
So
is that on? I don't think that's on.
Hello?
Yeah, there you go.
So the main three colors that are being used for the building are this black horizon. It's kind of an off or a lighter tone of black. Wedding veil, which is an off-white shade, and then exotic red, which will primarily be used on the KFC side. And then the black horizon will show up more on the Taco Bell side, as you can see in this prototype rendering. Yeah. The colors for the signage, those would also be in the same shades. The Taco Bell.
Well, we're not discussing signage, so it's good to point out, but you're going to have to go through it again when you come before us for signage.
Okay.
So, okay.
I remember there was another question that came up about the downspouts and those other. I think it was just the downspouts, but in the building, the guidelines, the KFC building guidelines, there was that's the only place I was able to find what the brand would want those downspouts to be colored. And those would basically follow the same colors that the building is. It's kind of boring, but.
Okay.
So what you see here is kind of not represented correctly. It's close.
I'm sorry, to clarify, if a downspout is on a white wall, it will be white. If it's on a black wall, it'll be black,
Right.
et cetera. Okay.
Yeah, okay. We should add that, okay. Good, okay. Anything else?
In terms of we also submitted some equipment plans and some demo plans to kind of show.
Demo plans?
Unless you have questions about the floor plan or changes.
Well, we could, if somebody has questions, they can bring
discuss
it up.
it.
Right, great, thank you. Okay,
Other than that, I think that covers all of it.
great, thank you. All right, we're going to start with Commissioner Kalis.
Why, thank you. Yeah, this is, I should have asked earlier, figured out, but is there a location that's updated to this color scheme in the area, like a KFC that has this bucket of chicken looking paint scheme?
Yeah, so I did.
I mean, at branding play, it's perfect. It's very, very KFC, so I can appreciate that.
I'm not sure around Wheeling, but.
Okay. I mean, in the
Yeah.
surrounding suburbs?
Yes, there's
Can we go see
actually, I
one?
live in Elmhurst,
Okay.
and one actually just got updated to that image.
Okay.
So those images,
But that's
Across the
just,
street.
but that's just a KFC.
yeah, there are no really,
But it's got the vertical
Taco Bell.
stripes. Like, that's,
yeah.
I get it. It's KFC. It's just like, it's a lot to look at. But who am I to argue with the branding people of such a powerhouse company? But,
If I could, real quick, I could
Sure,
kind of help
sure.
a little bit. So historically, Yum Brands itself had at 1.5 brands within it. It was Taco Bell, KFC, and Pizza Hut. And then they ended up purchasing A&W Root Beer, and the fifth one escapes me. But at the time this was being built, Yum Brands, as actually PepsiCo, was rolling out multi-branded buildings, which was a good scenario for them because you're using the construction of a building and you're getting multiple menu offerings or a lot of menu offering off of two brands that can coexist. What historically didn't happen very often was the combination of a Taco Bell and a KFC, those being the more parent brands as the three original to PepsiCo, which again became Yum. So what they were doing when they really started to move into co-branding buildings in the early 2000s, I'd say 2004, 2005, it was Long John Silver's. So you'd see a lot of Taco Bell Long John Silver's because you'd gain the brand recognition of a Taco Bell and then have the ability to boost your brand, your new brand that you just purchased in Long John Silver's. So that was a lot of co-branding that was going on in the Chicago area, and again with A&W Root Beer. The KFC Taco Bell co-branding was done very infrequently. So now that we're, fast forward to 2018 and we're trying to remodel a building that really doesn't exist very often nationally, we're running into a situation where it's hard to find another building to kind of say, hey, this was, the approach that building had, or this is the approach that, the brand was looking for this co-branded building. So that's why we're showing you, typically what a KFC would be, which is, in this situation, really the major brand. It's a KFC with a Taco Bell, if that makes any difference. And then, yes, now KFC has this prototype as their kind of building decor, whether it be inside. I think we included some images of what the inside looks like, as well as the continuation of a lot of those color schemes and whatnot to the outside. So, hope that helps.
And for the record, as for me, I love the combination of this deep black, like off black, I guess you could call it, and the deep red color. I think that color combo goes together well. It's just those stripes are.
And you'll be seeing that a lot more now with Taco Bells as those
Okay.
get remodeled.
Yeah.
So,
I guess maybe that's it. We just haven't seen it, so it's
Yeah.
just like boom, so anyway, I was just curious from a branding perspective how this
Thank you.
decision came to be. But you addressed the lights, downspouts. I'm good. Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. Yeah, you addressed the lights already. And I don't think it was a matter of being dimmable as much as not spilling onto the neighboring properties. Wouldn't that be right, Brooke?
Well, ultimately, it would have to meet code, yes.
Yeah, but they could shield it and not have to be dimmable.
However you choose to meet the code in terms of spillover, you can do that. So you can do it with the shielding, as Commissioner Johnson's discussing, or if you think dimming the lights if they're too bright right now, that's also an option.
What else did I have? Thought of something and now it lost. Any major changes in the landscaping at this point?
No.
I guess that's all I have for now. Maybe I'll think of it again. Thank you.
Commissioner Dorbin.
Thank you. I know that the signage isn't part of tonight's discussion, but I do have a question about the menu signs. Are those going to be changed at a later date?
I don't think so, no.
They're going to stay the same? Okay, that's all, because everybody's asked my questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Blanova.
Thank you. You did mention that the off-black color of Taco Bell, that's something new. So we don't see, there is none here, right, in Illinois? I'm not used to that color, to be honest. I mean, I'm not saying that it concerned me much, but I'm just never seen the black front.
it is a recent rollout for them. We've done a few remodelings of current Taco Bells with the new color schemes. They really do have mostly just the three colors. What's missing out of this kind of run of colors is there's a lighter gray that would be introduced. So they have a dark gray, a light gray, and this white. And the white is universal to both Taco Bell and KFC. I think maybe one of the very few locations around, there's one in Des Plaines on Elmhurst Road, there's a couple in Elk Grove Village, and we've done a couple in Oak Lawn. But again, the color schemes and the use of these colors are specific to Taco Bell's. And what's nice is they've back maybe about 5 or 6 years ago, I think you have, it's in Buffalo Grove on, is it on Dundee? Just down the street from this location, there's a Taco Bell that was remodeled. And they had a color scheme at that time called Bold Choice. And the upper band that is typical for one of these buildings had a mosaic of maybe 5 or 6 different colors and triangular formations and things like that. They've kind of gone away from that. They've simplified the color schemes, not only for KFC, but also for Taco Bell and for Pizza Hut for that matter. And what you have here is the use of 2 of the colors from Taco Bell and the use of 2 of the colors from KFC, one of which happens to be the same color in both schemes. So
Got it.
that's
Thank
what we
you. Thank you. That's all I have.
Commissioner Creech.
I have nothing, Mr. Chairman.
So, just to be clear, the striped side of the building is the west elevation, so it's going to face east, right? I mean, if you're going west, you're going to see I always get confused on
No,
west
you're going
elevations.
east.
The other way, if you're going east, you're going to see
The
that.
parking lot side.
Whoa, okay. But it seemed, I've driven by it a couple of times, and it seems that the landscaping and everything sort of tones it down a bit. I think it's loud.
That's a good word.
But I can understand the branding for Yum. And it's just a weird combination, and unfortunately, because I had asked, as Commissioner Kalis asked, I had asked Andrew and Brooke if there was something in the area that this combination had been, and there's nothing. It's just KFC's and Taco Bell's separately. And there's, it's just so bold because there's nothing around it. Nothing around it to soften it. I guess as we've indicated, it's on the sides. If it was in the front, though you're going to get that black and red, it's on the sides, and it just, hopefully, it'll work. I'm not certain, but.
And the stripes are actually at the back end of that building, too.
That's true. That's true. So, right, yeah. Maybe it's an interesting concept. Do you change the Colonel Sanders based upon the Colonel Sanders that's advertised every 6 months? They change that, or Right, Reba for now. Okay, cool. And the lighting. I look at the photometrics, and we're talking about it. It's when you're looking out towards the townhomes, it's virtually zero in most of the spots. But I guess if you could tone that down, and however you do that to meet the code would be good. Brooke, are there conditions?
Yes,
I have a question for you.
Oh, sure, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Would they be eligible for a facade improvement grant?
I don't know if it's in the TIF district.
I'm not sure, they'd have to inquire with the village maybe later, because I'm not sure if that area is eligible or not.
Well, how would they be able to find out?
We can check tomorrow.
Okay.
So
Okay.
there's a facade improvement program within the village. I don't know if some people would look at that as an improvement, but that's okay. That you can call the village and ask for Brooke. And it's, again, we had this situation on the place on Milwaukee Avenue, the tire place. And please check before you start working on anything. But this has got to go, is this minor?
This is a minor site.
This is a minor, so this doesn't go before the village board. So the pressure's on us kids to get this one right. But you might want to talk to the village about that. Maybe the lighting, if you tone down the lighting a bit, it might help at night. They're bold colors, let's admit it. It's bold, but it's your brand, and it's going to be interesting. So, any other questions? And thank you, Commissioner Dorban, for bringing that up, something that is probably not out there a lot. So if, back to, you had some conditions.
Yes. I have 3 conditions, one of which was written into the staff report, which is that modifications to the kitchen shall be completed in conjunction with the remodeling project as required during the permit review. And then the following two came up during discussion this evening. 2, the building-mounted lights shall be adjusted to meet code if necessary. And 3, the downspout colors shall match the color of the adjacent walls.
Thank you. So do I hear a motion on
Go ahead, I'll make it.
on
Let's-
docket number PC 18-8? Now, Commissioner Dorband.
I'll
You
make
made the
that
motion.
motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Dorband, second by Commissioner Johnson. Madam Secretary.
Thank you. Commissioner Dorband?
Yes,
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Creech?
Yes.
Commissioner Kellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Villanova, yes. Commissioner Powers absent, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. You'll have something to sign. When will this start? Well, you have to close the,
What is going?
you can't mute. You can mute as you're doing those things.
So we'll continue through the permitting process. We'll also be bidding the project. We wanted to make sure that there wasn't going to be any changes associated with this. So when we go through bidding and go through permitting, I think maybe if we obtain a permit by the middle to the end of July, I think they may postpone it till September. The fast food season is the summer months, and they may just wait. Obviously, though, we have to do it before any hard conditions hit, because really you can't paint EFS during poor conditions. So, fall.
Thank you. So you have just sign these two things.
I remember being at a Kentucky Hut once
Great.
where you had all 3 brands.
Really? Wow.
Kentucky Hut.
That would have been interesting.
Kentucky Hut.
They do not co-brand any more buildings.
Oh, they don't?
No, they don't get along anymore. It's a fight all the time.
This is for
Who's
you.
the major brand? So it's a fight.
This is
Really?
Thank you very much.
But it's still a parent company, right?
It's still a parent company. They'll take the profits, they just won't coexist.
Sibling rivalry.
Stay in the same house, but in different rooms.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Docket numbers PC 18, are you ready, Brooke?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Docket number PC 18-9, 18-10, and 18-11, site plan and appearance approval for 3 commercial buildings within the Wheeling Town Center Development, PC 18-9, Building B, 335 to 337 West Dundee Road, PC 18-10, Building F, 403-419 through 419 West Dundee Road, and PC 18-11, Building H, 371 through 373 West Dundee Road. Brooke, anything to add?
Not at this time.
Great, thank you. Mr. Friedman, if you could just state your name and business address before you start, and then the floor is yours, sir.
My name is Brad Friedman. I'm with the Lindmark Group. Corporate address is 4 Executive Boulevard in Suffern, New York.
Thank you. The floor is yours, sir.
Okay. Last time you wanted to do each building on its own. Do you want to go through that same process again?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay,
it'd
so
probably
we'll-
be easier just to,
So we'll just start with Building B.
Right.
And then we'll do
Yep.
questions, and then we'll move on to the next building.
that'd be great. Thank you, sir.
You're the boss. So we've pretty much discussed Outlot Building B before. We made some modifications to the site plan the last time that we met. And we talked about Building B hosting a bank with a drive-through. We've made announcements that we have a signed lease with Inland Bank. And then we have another 2,500 square feet available in the Outlot building that is yet to be leased. The bank has already provided us with their interior floor plan. They've already signed off on the space. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think we already have approval for the site plan, but we don't have approval for the building appearance. So we're really just here to get approval on the building appearance. The special use permit for the drive-through for the bank will come at a later time.
Great.
And then, of course, all building signage will come at a later time as well. So we really haven't made any changes to the site plan from the last time we met. All we've done is well, here's the interior floor plan, as you can see from Inland Bank. And then what the guys from CRTKL have done is put together a palette of materials and then come up with a building facade design. So here you can see that the way the building is designed, it's clearly distinguishing the Inland Bank location from the other 2,500 square feet location. As you can see here, Inland Bank wanted to do this red parapet at their request as a branding item. We've got some canopies, a lot of window walls. We're using a lot of the same brick colors and materials that have been approved for previous buildings, retail buildings, residential buildings, and the color palette really, stays in line with a lot of the other color tones that we've been using in the pedestrian plaza and the pavers and whatnot. And so these are just, the elevations going around on each side, so you get an idea for what the building's going to look like. We learned from the last time that you guys, even though the front of the building is not facing Dundee, so the back of the building is facing Dundee, you still want to kind of dress that up a little bit, and so we've done that, so it doesn't look like a blank wall along Dundee. I really don't have that much to add. I was just going to turn it back over to you guys for some Q&A. I see this as pretty straightforward, but.
So just, Mr. Friedman, do you have examples of the materials? So if you could point out, go to the front facade and then just point out
no problem.
What you have, that'd be great.
So for Inland Bank, a lot of it is the ash blend and the QT, and then the other 2,500 square feet is the brandy wine, and the base of it, I believe, is the ash blend. And then the metal canopy is this material here.
Can you lift that up?
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
No problem. We've used this before. It's gotten a little bit dirty over the time. I'm sorry about that. The window glazing as well. Oh, yes, thank you.
There, yeah, that's.
So, it wouldn't be this color, but this is the material that you guys approved with CityWorks, if you remember that. So.
Is that what goes above the bank, the red band thing? Or where is that?
So, right now, it's number 10, isn't it, Tom?
10,
yeah.
Okay.
It's number 10, right above that parapet,
okay.
Or awning, I'm sorry. And then above the bank for that red branding that they asked for.
Cool. That's just painted red, like the top one?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So, are there any, we'll open this up, we'll be a little bit different here. Are there any questions or comments about this building B that we have?
I was just curious if you considered red and white striping, straight vertical.
I was thinking about it.
Just throwing it out there to be cohesive in the neighborhood.
Yeah, maybe next time.
Okay.
So is everyone okay with building B?
Is B2 a divisible?
So as of right now, B2 is really
hoping to get
designed to
all
be
one.
one tenant.
Okay.
We were in conversations with a tenant who was going to take the entire space, and we're still trying to work that through. If we needed to demise it, I'm sure that we could, but preference from ownership is really to have one tenant.
Okay.
Great. Okay, and I know we're not getting into the use or anything, but the drive-through is going to be in back. And, and I'm certain that, the landscape along Dundee Road is going to take care of a lot of that, and one of my concerns, and I see it in Schaumburg on Gulf Road, Gulf and and Meacham. They just built a little strip mall that is just so darn obvious, you know, and I think there's a Mod Pizza in there, and they just have that thing, and it's just this stark building, you know, it's just got nothing, it doesn't have any character, whereas this has some character, and I appreciate that from the backside. I really appreciate that, because it really does make a difference when people are driving by. And, you know, let's face it, there's a lot of stop and go traffic on Dundee Road, and they're going to be looking at something that's going to be looking nice. So thank you for that.
Absolutely, thank you.
Are there any other?
Do you envision it being regular glass on the backside, there, on the Dundee Road side?
Well,
Show it that way now, but.
yeah, so for me is the Inland Bank side is glass, and then the other side, as of right now, is shown as glass. That's correct, yes.
Guess it depends on what goes in there.
Right, exactly. So, okay, thank you. Is there any other comments about B? Okay, next building.
Okay.
F.
Oh,
Let me put these here for us.
forgot about those perspectives. Very good job, Tom. Okay, here's building F.
Nice.
Beautiful.
So if you recall, the last time that we went through some site plan changes, we actually took buildings F and building G, and we wanted to combine them. And then, of course, that would be finalized based on the appearance approval, which is what we're going in for today. So building F, as of right now, is slated to be occupied by 4 different tenants. This would be a breakfast and lunch restaurant, full service sit down. This location here at 407 would be a nail salon. This location at 405 has not yet been leased. And this end cap location at 403 Dundee would be a fast casual sandwich salads concept with some outdoor seating. And so what we've done is very, very similar in terms of using a lot of the materials that have been used on other parts of the project. We've got the Harvard Brick Monument White, which has actually been approved for the residential building, the QT Black, which is also approved in the residential building, and then is building F using the flashed or the brand? I think it's the brandy wine. I think it's using brandy wine. And then the other materials, in addition to the awnings, the metal coping, the glass, and then I do believe we have some of the aluminum for the storefront windows. Are there any other materials that I'm missing for F? Oh, this gray stone here, thank you, is along some of the trim areas. So I think, was this maybe part of approved of the City Works as well? Yeah. So that's what we have for building F. A nice mixture of some metal canopies, some awnings, signage. I know that the trash is always a question. We've had several meetings with Waste Management, not only on the residential side, but also now we've established a relationship with them, so we always ask them for their design standards and comments for the retail aspects of the building as well. So they've provided us with specs and dimensions for the trash room and for the pickup to make sure that it's convenient, because I know that's always a hot topic of discussion. And so what we have designed on the back side of the building will work. Oh, I should also mention that all of these stores have entrances on both sides of the building, on the east side and the west side, anticipating that, you know, a lot of the patrons will park in that northwest quadrant, so they'll be able to access, you know, the location on either side. So there really is no back of the building. I mean, a lot of the buildings in the Wheeling Town Center really have like 4 A sides, which ends up being kind of expensive, but that's the way we designed the project, and we want to make sure that we deliver, you know, a good-looking building for you guys, so.
Are there any comments, questions about F?
So the trash location there, that's for all 4?
That's correct. We actually have 2 compactors in there, very sufficient for the 2 restaurant uses. The nail salon, I don't think is going to produce that much trash. But because they are those they're compact trashers machines, so it really helps out.
Okay.
So we gave the square footage of the restaurants, and then, you know, took the recommendation from Waste Management.
So I have a question. So the restaurant at 403 has to bring their trash all the way across the back to that garbage?
Yes.
So they don't have their own space?
No.
Because now they're going to be making a trail from their back door all the way to that trash container. There's no inside hallways or anything, so all this is going to be done outside?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, I hope you have a steamer or something to clean the sidewalks.
If necessary, then yes, we will do whatever it takes, power wash.
So you know how restaurants are.
Yeah.
It's not so pretty sometimes.
I think that's a legitimate concern. The way the building is designed, it just doesn't make sense to have interior hallways. It's just not an efficient use of space. And we wanted to make sure that we weren't taking up too much space in terms of the back of the house area for the trash. So it just made sense to have all the tenants share that area.
Maintenance issue.
Understood.
With those awnings, the fabric awnings, I'm assuming there's some sort of chemical on it to keep them looking nice and bright. Like, is there, what kind of fabric are we talking that it wouldn't get weathered?
No sample?
I mean, I'm not a scientist. You can just tell me that it's, you know.
I don't. It's not my first rodeo. Tom Arsofsky with Callison RTKL Architects in Chicago, 200 South Michigan Avenue. These are typically canvas awning, canvas material, and they are chemically treated to be water repellent.
Okay.
If need be, we can provide a specification from the awning fabricator as well.
Okay.
Actually, to that point, and I think I heard Commissioner Creech say this, and I know that we're approving the appearance tonight, but as these come before us, if you could bring samples of the canvas awnings, that I think that'd be great.
Okay.
Because you've applied canvas throughout, I think at...
We have it for 2 of the buildings, Building F and Building H2.
Okay.
I think that's it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. The other ones have metal.
Metal, that's
Yeah.
right. Okay.
Prefabricated metal
Right.
systems, basically.
Any other questions about F? Yes.
I just wanted to dovetail on something.
Microphone.
Yeah, thank you. I was concerned when Salada and Starbucks went in where they are and how they had to take the garbage so far behind the other building. And it just hasn't been a problem there. I've never, it's always clean. So this is probably even a shorter distance. So I can see where it would be a concern, but having looked at what we have over there and this, I just don't see that it's going to be a concern.
And I'm of the opinion to have it in one place instead of multiple places is an advantage. So you have to weigh those items, and thank you, Commissioner Dorban, yeah.
I was also curious, just because I'm new here-ish, but do you not have contracts with these tenants, or why didn't you say who they were, like you said it was Inland Bank? You said what they are, you didn't say who they are. I'm just morbidly curious.
That's all right, yeah.
I don't know if they want to make announcements yet.
Okay, that's fair.
Some of the tenants have allowed us to make those announcements, but a lot of times it's going through, you know, the corporate to get approval for any press items, but
Okay.
I'd be happy to tell you who they are when we leave this
All good.
arena.
Thank you. Like I said, I'm just new. I don't know how that works, but.
No problem.
so, thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions on F? Let's go to H.
H2.
H. Mine just says H, so H2.
H1 is CityWorks and H2 is going to be
You have to change
occupied by two tenants. One of them is a Mexican eatery and cantina, and it's about 4,500 square feet. And then the other location, a little over 1,700 square feet, has not yet been leased. I think it's a very desirable location right across from the movie theater, next to CityWorks and the Mexican restaurant, right up against the plaza. So we're really excited to see how that shakes out. So the Mexican eatery has provided us with a interior floor plan. They do have outdoor seating that, of course, will be part of the special use permit, along with the interior floor plan. But they've looked at the space and they've approved the layout, the entrance locations, the window locations. We've put, you know, some attention to detail for this location because it is right up against the plaza. You know, we see using that removable overhead door, again, to, you know, promote that outdoor seating. And then, of course, break up the building to distinguish the two different tenants. And we do anticipate them having signage, of course, on the building, which will be applied for separately. This is the side of the building that will face the residential building. And we left it plain because there's a lot of landscaping in our landscape plan. And so I just wanted to show you what it's going to look like when it's fully landscaped. We haven't changed the landscaping. It's still the same from our original PUD. And so all the landscaping has already been identified. We think it's a really nice, you know, kind of seating area back there. Again, we've used a lot of the similar color materials for this building that have already been approved. So for me, as we're using the ash blend, we're using this is a new Richfield flashed brick. And then we have the canopies. Tom actually brought a sample of the light sconce. And then for this building, we are introducing some EFS. And I know that that is last on your list. I just want to point out that we are building a 500,000 square foot residential building and we do not use any EFS. We have 100,000 square feet of retail and we have a very small amount of EFS. It's only used at the top area of this building, and I still think it is a really good looking project.
Comments?
I like the landscaping a lot. I'll say that. I'm curious, you went with a more traditional brick color, that one over there, and maybe all the awnings are red, but is red awning on red brick? I'm curious about that style choice.
You know, we could, I guess, based on the tenant's preference.
Right.
If they want to introduce a different color from a marketing branding standpoint, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. So there are other colors available in that? Oh, okay, it's just, maybe that's just my preference, but it was red on red.
I think it stemmed from trying to work with traditional Mexican colors. Maybe that's why the red, awning was introduced. I'd be amenable to anything that was tasteful, so long as the tenant approved it from a branding and a signage standpoint.
Okay.
Any other comments about the ephes? Nobody's saying about the ephes except me?
Well, I had a question that's how durable is I called it stucco, but ephes. So have we had a problem in the past with ephes?
Well, it depends upon the application. It's not real, as you can tell, Kentucky Fried Chicken and Taco Bell is all ephes. And actually, the temple that we approved the addition is all ephes, but those were pre-review of the materials. ephes, in its application, what we have seen is when it's used below, it doesn't wear well, and because of salt getting against it along the foundation where it's used. This application, it's not prohibited by us, but out of 10 listed materials, it's probably 11, but the application here is high.
Yeah.
You might get, and from what I understand, it is difficult to keep clean. And that would be my only concern of keeping it clean. And I know we have some, and this goes before the village board, right?
Yes.
That are going to question that. So you might want to be prepared to, I think I'm okay with this, an application. I don't know why we couldn't use, what's the other term I'm thinking of?
Cementatious?
Cementatious material instead of ephes. I don't know if the cost difference is that significant that you couldn't substitute those that you've used in other parts of the complex.
Or seams.
So I get, from that standpoint.
Are you talking about like the siding, like the lap, instead of lap siding, that same material in the panel?
What did we use on the movie theater? Of course, you guys.
The burnished CMU.
Yeah, burnished CMU.
Yeah, no, the burnished CMUs definitely had a higher cost, higher premium than the ephes. This was a building where it doesn't have as much visibility, and it wasn't as easy for us to get the level of rent that we needed to substantiate a lot of the costs. And I know that you guys have used ephes on other buildings. I know it's last on your list, but I go to the West End and I see that those buildings have ephes, I don't think that there's a problem maintaining them, but we will certainly make sure that we address that in terms of how we plan to maintain the ephes.
Exactly, and I think I think the consensus on the board is ephes is okay in this application. So, from that standpoint, but I be prepared to discuss the maintenance of it as you move forward through the process. And you were going to say something, sir? I know Brad wouldn't let you talk. I wanted to let you get in there.
That's quite all right. No, I work for him.
Yeah, right.
One of the compromises that we have with using EFIS or synthetic stucco, which are somewhat interchangeable terms, is to go with a darker tone. The lighter tones that you see, I guarantee your KFC is going to look dingy in 5 years. But if we have a gray to a medium gray, you won't see the dirt as obviously. I mean, everything gets dirty, right?
Yeah,
all
right.
the
Understood.
bricks and all that. So that's often the compromise that we suggest as the designers of record.
Thank you. Any other questions on F? Commissioner Creech, were you going to?
Are we on H?
H, yeah.
I'm sorry, H.
H2.
H2.
Of course.
No.
No, I have no complaints with EIFs.
Pardon?
I don't have any issue with the EIFs.
Okay, great, thank you. That's what my sense is. And then we also have, this was in front of us, this is updated landscape plan. But you indicated there were no changes.
The update, what has been updated on the landscape plan? Is it revolving around the CMX footprint?
I don't think that's included in this. CMX is not part of this.
Because I don't think we made changes to the landscape plan for H2, because we already did that for last time we came in when we made the adjustment. I think it was just required that we submit the landscape plan.
For H2, there are no changes.
Okay.
We received the plan this afternoon. Andrew Johnson said
Yeah.
that
We had a problem with
the footprint of
file.
building F, I believe, was incorrect on the plan that was initially submitted, and this one shows it correct. I'm not sure if there are any other changes.
F was shown as 2 buildings because of there was a problem with the computer file. There are no changes to F.
Okay, great, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'm just wondering what the blue hatched areas are. I saw it on the overall plan, and there's no notation that I can see as to what that means.
Oh, right, that's right, yes. We updated the landscape plan with more details that surround the pylon signs and the monument signs. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to avoid your question.
That's okay.
Can you please repeat the question?
Yeah, and the plans we have here.
Oh, the blue dashes.
Yeah, the hatched areas. What are those?
Let me, I'm not going to, can you show me what you're referring to?
Burke, can you pull up
side
L13?
there?
Yeah, this, and they're over here, over here.
Yeah, why are those in blue? Those might, I mean, those are landscape planters, and there it is, so.
The areas that are between A and C, they actually have plantings called out for that hatched area. I don't know if you can zoom in.
This here?
Right.
I don't know if I could zoom in. I think
No.
I'd have to,
No.
oh, zoom in? Can you think of?
And the area at the end of F, that's what you're referring to?
Yeah.
So there
Did you
there
need to
are
do that?
specs called out for that area. I think it might just be a takeoff for the landscape architect to communicate to the landscaper.
Well, I understand the green ones, but the blue
But like,
ones.
right there, exactly.
Well, that's around E, and that's going to change because we have a different plan for that building. For that one, it looks like that's a planting bed.
Okay. So, Brooke, I don't see it on the agenda that we're approving a landscape plan tonight.
I wonder why that is blue hatch there. I mean, that, I mean, that area might be, yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah, and if you go to the north end of F, there's no notes indicating anything in there.
Correct.
The one between A and C, there's at least one that says there's
So-
a black oak tree in there.
What
but-
buildings are left for site?
I stumped you.
I'm sorry, I can't, it's a very good question. I will have to
Don't
check
put
with
it
my
in a different
landscape
color.
architect to find out what the blue hatched area means. Oh, wait, did we do irrigation there? Do you think that's what it means?
Don't guess.
Keep guessing.
Okay, I'll find out. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay.
So I was just discussing, and it's just really putting it in context to the building. So, you know, we don't have the landscape plan, you know, any changes to be approved tonight. So not sure what we should do with it
Well, the motions are written without the landscape.
without landscape plan.
Yeah.
I guess and it's ever evolving, and I'm not, to make it easy on everybody, do we need to see updated landscape plans when they do buildings until we're final, and then we can get a final landscape plan? Because these are gonna constantly be changing, and
We will make modifications to the landscape plan again as we further refine and define the tenant and the building and the window and the entrances for these remaining pads, C, D, and E. So that is a good point.
I'm wondering if we could, all of these are gonna require special use as they come in. So,
Most likely, they will, yes.
right. So when you come in for the special use, come in with the changes to the landscaping.
And we can identify
Exactly.
those changes on the plan and make sure that we identify any blue
Right,
cross-hatched
exactly.
areas in terms of what they do mean. That would be a good idea,
Yeah,
yes.
And then my guess is that once all the buildings are up, there probably will be some other changes to it too. So I think at site plan, when we're doing the uses, bring in landscape changes to the buildings and we can go from there.
Okay.
Instead of, like tonight, we're just approving appearance, landscape.
Right. And with the last special uses that came through for like City Works and Starbucks, we had landscape plans.
We did have
because the adjacent site was affected by those uses.
Right, yeah. So again, that'd be great. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other comments about any of the buildings? No?
I'm sorry, I have one.
Yes.
The roofing material, since the apartments are so tall, they're going to be able to see on top of a lot of these buildings.
Correct.
Is it just a bitumen torch down roofing system that's going to be a color, or is it going to have stone, or what?
The roofing is a single membrane, EPDM. I'm not sure what brand, probably Carlisle, I think is what was bid. It's typically a light color, often white. There is no stone, no ballast. It is not torched down. It's either glued down or a mechanical fastener, most likely a glue down. That's what they have at the residential building, which is also white.
But just the white color to reflect heat, basically.
It's a energy code requirement.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? I have a question completely unrelated to what we're talking about, the buildings. And I was just asking Brooke when we approved the apartments. I was driving by the other day and I was with my brother and we were talking about the proliferation of online shopping everybody's getting their groceries and everything, toilet paper, paper towels are all delivered. So in the building, do you have a space for those things?
So I think what you're asking for is our parcel pickup room,
Yeah.
which is very large. I just met with a potential property manager today who came in to look at the site, and I gave her a tour. And when we walked into the storage room, which will be a Luxor package receiving system, she was amazed at how large it was. There's plenty of space for multiple shelving and a number of packages. In addition to that, I just want to let you know that recently we had one of our equity investors come into town who came up with a really good suggestion. He said a lot of people are ordering their groceries and you need to have refrigeration. And so we made an addition to bring in electrical in order to accommodate, like when you go to a 7-Eleven, they have those, coolers, so the groceries or anything that needs to be kept cold could be stored in those areas as well.
Great.
So
Great to hear that, yeah.
yeah.
Cool, that's excellent. We were just talking about it.
So anyone who wants a cold beer delivered, there you go.
Can't do that yet.
Yes, you can.
I thought that was approved.
There's an app for that.
Yes, you can.
Drizzly.
So, any other questions about BFH, anything? So we're going to take these separate. Do we have any conditions?
There's a condition on docket number PC 18-11, that's building H2. The condition is the large garage door style windows on the west elevation are subject to review and approval in conjunction with the final floor plan for the tenant space.
Which is fine. We have information on those, but I don't mind having them being reviewed when we go in for the building permit. That's
Excellent.
Or
Thank
the
you.
special use.
Or the special use.
special use, yeah, that's
Special
fine.
use would probably
Yeah.
be the most appropriate time.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you. So, going through the dockets, do I hear a motion on PC 18-9, Building B, 335 through 337 West Dundee Road?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Kalis, second by Commissioner Johnson. Madam Secretary.
Thank you. Commissioner Kellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Creech?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorbin?
Yes.
Commissioner Powers absent, Commissioner Bruno, yes, and Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Thank you.
PC 18-10, Building F, 403 through 419 West Dundee Road. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Kalis. Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Creech?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorbin?
Yes.
Commissioner Power absent, Commissioner Bruno, yes, and Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Thank you.
And PC 18-11 with the condition noted by Brook Building H, 371 through 373 West Dundee Road. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Dorban, second by Commissioner Kalis. Madam Secretary.
Thank you. Commissioner Dorbin?
Yes.
Commissioner Kellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Creech?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Power absent, Commissioner Bruno, yes, and Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. You just have something to sign. One of my concerns was the monotony, but using the same materials, you've managed to give character to the buildings, and I thank you for that. So, good job. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
You'll just have to sign 246 sheets.
Okay.
Is this all of them, Brooke?
Yes.
I like your wagon, Brad. It's very nice.
Brad, you want to sign all of these? Thank you, Mr. Friedman. Approval of minutes, May 10th, 2018, including facts and findings. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Commissioner Dorbin, second by Commissioner Kalis. Madam Secretary?
Commissioner Dorbin?
Yes.
Commissioner Kellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Creech?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Power absent. Commissioner Villanova, yes. And Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. Looking good. Thank you very much. Other business, Brooke?
Our next meeting is on June 14th. It will be a special meeting, a workshop that we like to do annually with the village board. So it will be a joint meeting with the Plan Commission and board. It will be held in the Public Works Building at the 6:30 p.m. is the meeting time. It'll start with a dinner at 5:30 for the commissioners and the board members. I don't have the agenda exactly at this time, but please let me know if you have any questions.
So that's June 14th, Flag Day.
What day of the week is it?
Thursday?
It's a regularly scheduled meeting,
Okay.
but it will be at the Public Works
Is it
Building.
our meeting?
It is.
Ooh, yes. Okay. So you will be secretary, Commissioner Powers will not be in attendance. So 5:30 at the Public Works Building. I hope everybody can make it. It's very informative, helpful, and it's great dialogue. Anything else, Brooke?
No.
Commissioner Johnson?
I just wanted to make a comment about the gaming places. You know, I don't see how this is a convenience as stated in, you know, the number one question on special use things. Like I said, there's one just over 400 feet away from that one. There's 15 locations in Wheeling and 64 machines as of April. And there's 3 more pending, at least 3 more pending, according to the gaming board website. So that's why I voted as I did. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Blanova?
Nothing tonight.
Thank you. Commissioner Dorban?
Just wanted to remind everybody that the chamber golf outing is July 12th. Please check the chamber website and sign up and come join us in golf.
Mr. Kalis?
Nothing here, thanks.
Commissioner Creech?
Nothing from me tonight, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I guess my comment to Commissioner Johnson, it's valid, and I understand that, but from my view, and I was concerned initially about the gaming, and when we have restaurants that have them that you don't even know they're there. I've gone into, now D'Agostino's is in the bar, but it's very innocuous there. And I guess these gaming cafes, from my standpoint, if they're not successful, they're going to be out of business. And I think the more bang that you get.
And they are making money. They are making money. You can go to the Illinois Gaming Board and see exactly what they make every month.
I think the bang is in an actual sit-down restaurant such as D'Agostino's or who else has, I was going to say Tap House, but that's in Prospect Heights. You go in there, you can't even, you don't even know where they're at, but they are there. So I think some of these folks, they're going to realize that they're not producing the revenue that they want, that's great for us. And as long as they're, from a police perspective and a noise perspective, being good neighbors, I'm okay with them.
That's my question. Is there a specific concern that has come up in the past based on, like, in my mind, it's like, oh, more gaming is more gambling. Is it just the stigma, or is there actual crime happening that we know of?
No, there has not been
Right,
any.
so it's just kind of,
Although I'm a little concerned when they said there's only one person in this place all the time.
Well, but I think Stella's is the same way.
Are they?
Stella's is just one person. Yeah, Stella's, and we've got 3 of them, it's just one person.
Yeah.
They don't have, to your point, Commissioner Kalis, not being in one, they just have what looks like an ATM machine, and you put cash into a gaming machine, and a ticket comes out, and I guess they do that at casinos also. Ticket comes out, you go to there, and it just spits out
Yeah.
cash for you.
I figured, from my perspective, it's so hard to get people's attention outside of their home with their gadgets and computers that anything to get people out in public to socialize and fraternize, as long as it's under control and civil, I'm for it. I love
there
community.
if you go back in some of the village board meetings where they discuss these, one of the first questions they ask of the police chief, has there been any issues at any of these? And there really hasn't.
Yeah.
It's just,
If it's what keeps people out of their house, then
yeah,
until there's a problem, so.
right. And we have them in neighborhoods. Lexington, the one here, right here, and initially that was a concern, and I don't think we've had any issues whatsoever.
I'm not aware of any.
Right.
I'm sure that will also be asked
And
of the chief at the next board.
Yes, that's the next board meeting.
And to be fair, I don't know that there's been anybody from the public to come front and say, I'm concerned about too many of these places, has there?
No, they've come to us about location in the past. but-
Right.
Which
but
is fair,
not
but
about-
not too many in general. So
No.
until people start coming and clamoring, saying there's too many, I don't want to be a casino town,
Well, just to point out, the did have a hard cap on the number for,
Oh, yeah.
up until recently. They just
It's
lifted
removed.
that, it used to be a maximum of 3.
3 what, machines?
No, 3
Cafes.
gaming cafes.
Oh,
And we just lifted that cap within the last month or so.
and how many are there now, did you say? 15?
Right, well, on the month of April report, Wheeling had, where I put that now? 15 locations and 64 machines.
So you're saying we
But
just
but the
lifted it?
15 locations is a bit misleading because they're in restaurants.
Okay, so it's a
And
restaurant.
That's
not
not
a
a strictly,
gaming. So we're talking
it's not
Stella's.
strictly
Yeah.
a gaming cafe.
Cafe.
Right.
Which this wasn't
But
either.
they claim,
This is,
Maze.
no,
They
this
come in
is a gaming
claiming to be
cafe.
restaurants.
No, it is a gaming cafe per the liquor code
Yeah.
Okay,
versus a restaurant under liquor code. For the zoning purposes, and it's because they're serving a certain portion of food and they're set up, it's a restaurant
Tricky.
versus a tavern. But their liquor license is for a gaming cafe because they have under 35 seats.
got it.
And a restaurant is sit down with 35 or more seats.
Thank you for that clarification. So
but in their write-up, they said, we are also going to consider gaming machines. So, they came across as, we want to open up a restaurant, and we're going to consider gaming machines, even though it was clearly the center point of
Right, yep,
their building.
good point, yep.
they'll be subject to their 50% rule upon
Any,
reissuance.
yeah.
Oh,
Mallory?
I do have one question. Have we heard anything about Shabillos? Are they still coming?
Yes,
They are?
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Their application with the gaming board is pending. That was on their website. What about Bella's? I have not
Yeah.
seen anything on that.
We've had a building permit from them as well.
Okay. I don't see a lot of work being done over there.
No, yeah, you're right.
And I couldn't find them on the website, so. But that would be 4.
My only comment is I hope everybody enjoyed the short spring we had because we're right now into summer.
Until it's winter again, of course.
Yeah, so everybody have a safe Memorial Day weekend, and we will see you on the 14th. Do I hear a motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
By motion to close, you mean
Adjourn?